Tequila may not be the answer, but it's worth a shot. Mañana is National Tequila Day. Here to help us celebrate is Morgan Hurley, beverage director at Mex1 Coastal Cantina, with a recipe that you can make at home, but it's better if you just go out, particularly to Sullivan's Island, where I love to imbibe. How have you been?
I've been good. How about yourself?
Doing great. And I should say Feliz National Tequila Day.
Yep, one of my favorite holidays as well. National Margarita Day is also my favorite too, but that's in February. I much prefer celebrating this one in July.
Yes, I agree. So tequila, for people who don't realize, is actually a pretty low-calorie option compared to some other liquors.
Yeah, it is. It's just under 100 calories. I want to say it's about like 90 calories a shot, something like that. Really low in sugar, no carbs whatsoever. And personally, I think it's a much more fun spirit to drink than the others.
And what I find is you can mix it with a lot of different things. So it can take on the flavors of many different fruits and other profiles. Why do you like using it in your mixology?
For all those similar reasons. So the Blanco tequila, the clear tequilas, I think work great with light citrus or a little bit of bubbles, like a sparkling mineral water or some sort of champagne. The reposados, which is what we're working with today, go great in margaritas, all sorts of fun flavor combinations from there. And then the añejos, the aged spirits, work really well in a lot of bourbon-style cocktails. So you can sub them in boulevardiers and old fashions and stuff like that. So it really is a really versatile ingredient.
Yes, and you've got a very versatile bar there as well. For people who are not yet indoctrinated into the whole idea of tequila, when you mention these different ones, yes, there's the clear kind, and then there's others that are more of an amber color, but there's so many different brands out there. How do you go about selecting, and how do they really differ?
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with the actual process and the love and terroir and everything like that goes into the tequila. So the number one thing you're going to look for is it has to say 100% agave on the front of the bottle. If it doesn't say that, go ahead and put it back on the shelf in the liquor store. It's kind of like a go-to from there. Your best tequilas are going to be in that $25 to $45 price point. You really don't want to buy too much lower than that, and you don't want to buy too much higher than that because you're kind of buying marketing at that point. But I've got a long line of tequilas that I recommend. It's not as big as all the ones on the shelf, so you really got to kind of dive in there and see which ones are the best.
Right, so you got to sample some, but of course we always promote drinking responsibly on this program, so you may not want to try them all in one day.
Probably not suggested, but you know X1 and we could sample you on a few different types of tequilas and steer you in the right direction.
Let's get into a recipe, shall we? So what are you going to be making for us today?
Yeah, so we're making the Baja Tanga today. So it's one of my favorite cocktails, and this actually won us the Charleston Margarita Festival Cocktail of the Year a few years ago.
Congratulations. What do we start with?
So this one, I really like to use seasonal ingredients when I can, and for this one, we're using watermelon. It's one of my favorite ingredients. So we're starting out with tequila. We're starting out with 100% agave tequila. Reposado or Blancos will work well. We're using Luna Azul today. So we're shooting for 1.5 ounces of tequila. Pour that right into a shaker. You can use a jigger like this. You can also just use measuring cups, like quarter cups, and just kind of base your recipes off of parts. So next we're doing watermelon puree. So all I'm doing here is I'm taking the watermelon, I'm scooping out the center of the watermelon, putting it in a blender and blending it up. And then you want to strain out those particles. So take a nice fine strainer and strain out the pulp, essentially. And we're doing 2 ounces of the watermelon juice.
Oh, look at that. It's such a pretty color.
Yeah, it really is.
And when you add watermelon as a flavor, it's so fresh and light.
Really refreshing. That's my favorite part of it. It's just super refreshing, especially in the summertime. Ripe watermelon, cold ripe watermelon in the summertime, there's literally no better flavor out there.
That's right.
So next is rosé, because, why not, right? Tequila, rosé, watermelon, all really blend together. The rosé is nice. This is a 1 ounce of rosé. The rosé is nice in my opinion because you get those kind of sweeter but also kind of drier notes that really complement the watermelon really well.
And then do we mix it? Do we shake it?
I got 2 more ingredients. I've got lime juice. So you're doing about half a lime, which is about 3/4 of an ounce, but you're doing about half a lime.
Great. And lime, you can't go wrong with that.
No, fresh squeezed lime, just to provide a little bit of citrus and balance. And then about a half ounce of agave nectar. So this is just household agave nectar that you can get at the store. We're going to do about a half ounce of that. So nectarine ice, and we're going to shake up the glass.
Perfect. All right, we pour it in.
Yep, so from there, got the shaken cocktail.
Ah, beautiful. That looks delicious, refreshing, perfect for the summertime. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cheers, and happy National Tequila Day.
Cheers.
We're back after this.